Scott Morrison has met Prince Charles at the COP26 summit in Glasgow, boasting about Australia's commitment to a net zero target by 2050. Former Prime Minister Malcom Turnbull was quick to inject himself into the French submarine dispute as well, describing the PM's conduct as sneaky and shameful.
3 weeks ago, Prince Charles was concerned that Scott Morrison wasn't even coming to Glasgow for the COP26 summit.
Australia, for example, what would you say to a government like the government of Australia that seems reluctant to take on board the need to take really serious action on this issue?
No. I mean, you gently try to suggest there may be other ways of doing things. In my case, anyway.
Scott Morrison, the Australian PM, isn't even certain that he could make it to the meeting in Glasgow?
Is that what he says, is he?
He did say, yeah. He said he's spent enough time in quarantine. I mean, what would you say to world leaders about why they should come to Glasgow?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say all the time. And the point being that this is a last chance saloon.
Today, the pair met at the summit, and Scott Morrison wanted to make sure the Prince was on top of Australia's net zero emissions commitment.
But now we've committed to net zero by 2050. Australia's done that here at COP26, doubled our climate finance commitments, and we're working very close with our Pacific family, with Prime Minister Malcom and the whole team, so which I know you have a great affection for the Pacific.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to Jordan.
Yeah, sure.
But an unwelcome visitor for Scott Morrison at the summit was his predecessor Malcom Turnbull, who criticised him over his handling of the French submarine controversy and the AUKUS agreement.
If Morrison had wanted to act honestly, let's just imagine that for a minute, hold that thought. If he'd wanted to act honestly, he would have sat down with the French and said, OK, we want to move to naval nuclear propulsion.
According to Scott Morrison, that information could not be shared with Emmanuel Macron, even though he leads a NATO power. Do you accept any of that?
No, I don't accept any of that at all. France placed enormous trust in Australia. I mean, the submarine deal was not just a shipbuilding contract. It was a sovereign partnership between France and Australia. Oh, he's lied to me on many occasions. I mean, there's quite a few examples in my book, but Scott has always had a reputation for telling lies. I mean, look, you're all in the press gallery, right? You know that.
But he was not the centre of attention at COP26, where more was made of the lack of more ambitious targets from China, India and Russia. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson today welcomed an agreement by more than 100 world leaders for an end to deforestation by 2030.
I thank my friends and colleagues for their leadership, but I say to everybody else here at this COP, let's end this great global chainsaw massacre by making conservation do what we know it can do, and that is deliver long-term sustainable jobs and growth as well.